What's going on, guys? It is a beautiful day. The sun is shining, the birds are chirping, the Giants are in the win column. Everything is positive, and that's what happens when you win. What a game we were treated to. That was an incredible wire-to-wire game. This is the official Giants versus Tampa Bay Buccaneers review. I'm at a loss for words just simply as to how different it feels. We would win with Eli, and it felt some type of way. You know, it's always good when you win, but the energy, even prior to the game, it just feels different. It's not the same old Giants football. But as always, I'm going to keep this review 100% honest, 100% real. Not everything is going to be positive, as it never is. I have a lot of criticisms for this game, but also a lot of positive takeaways. So without any further ado, I mean, it feels great to be 1-2. I didn't mean to rhyme there, but I did. It feels good to be 1-2, especially, you know, considering that the Super Bowl champion Browns are also 1-2. Baker, how do those words feel? How do they taste? Are you eating them right now? Because you're 1-2, we're 1-2, so we're equals. And Daniel Jones runs that one in, Baker. Anyways, guys, not going to get into that again. Daniel Jones looked great. All praise goes to him. He stepped up when it matters most, and if you're going to endear yourself to fans in New York, that's what you have to do. Did he take bumps along the way? Absolutely, but hey, got the job done. A win is a win. Early in the game, he looked very, very sharp. I mean, he looked seasoned in that pocket. He showed no fear. He didn't seem nervous whatsoever. Even when the pocket was closing, he just looked so calm and collected in that pocket. It was really refreshing to see. But Giants O-line, what happened? Did you miss the memo that we have a very prized asset in the backfield in this game? We virtually shut down a pass rush like Dallas. But I guess tonight, just give credit to Tampa Bay, because they just showed how good of a pass rush, how good of a defense they have. Bruce Arians has worked wonders on that defense. Our line gave up a total of 5 sacks on Daniel Jones and even more hits on the QB. A lot of them very rattling. Shaq Barrett obviously was the consistent threat throughout the game. He was just abusing Nate Solder. He was in his head. He was absolutely owning him. You may have heard, actually, Barrett had a clause in his contract that if he had 8 sacks this season, he would get $250K. Well, the 4 that he had in this ballgame went a long way, and I tweeted this. Very proud of that tweet, actually. Got a lot of likes. That's good. That's what we like to have here. Speaking of likes, leave one on this video. Anyways, back to the review. Absolutely dominating Nate Solder. Showed multiple pass rush moves. He was getting in with ease. And beyond that, I mean, the whole defensive line is a threat. I mean, Ndamukong Suh, obviously we know what he's capable of. Vita Vea looked very good. Bo Allen consistently getting pressure. Carl Nassib, the best thing that could have ever happened to him was he left Cleveland, because he is just flourishing with Tampa Bay. And then, of course, as I mentioned, Barrett. That's one hell of a scary sight, and I'm very happy we only played this team once this year. Just to get the small negatives on Daniel Jones out of the way so we don't have to harp on them, he just needs to work a bit on his pocket awareness, just knowing his surroundings, and obviously protecting the football. You know, the fumbles have been an issue as of late. You know, he's just so comfortable in the pocket that maybe a little too comfortable especially when guys are closing in on him. But small things like that. I mean, and I'm not going to harp on the negative just because there was so much positive. He had an absolutely amazing performance. He finished with a line of 23 for 36 for 336 yards, 2 passing touchdowns, and then he added on 28 rushing yards and 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, what else could you ask for? That's an absolutely incredible performance. 4 total touchdowns, over 350 total yards for the quarterback. we couldn't have asked for more. Absolutely amazing performance. But with the light, there is the dark. Unfortunately, scary scene. Saquon Barkley on a short pass out to the left was drilled by a defender. It looked like he kind of rolled his ankle. He was helped off the field into the locker room just before half and came back on to the sideline after halftime in a walking boot and on crutches. Not one step forward, two steps back. That is not what we wanted to see. Unfortunately, even when Barkley was on the field, our offensive line struggled not only with pass blocking at times, but also in the run blocking game. We weren't able to get anything going with Saquon Barkley. He was being met immediately. There were really no holes, and that's more credit. Don't get me wrong, I'm not blaming our offensive line. That's a lot of credit to the Tampa Bay defensive line. They were getting pressure consistently. Todd Bowles, incredible coaching performance, even in defeat. He was rotating linebackers and D linemen on a consistent basis, switching up blitzing assignments. He put on a really good performance against a young rookie quarterback. We're just lucky. Jones is just a different kind of animal. But anyways, on Barkley, as I said, not really able to run the ball against the Bucs defense. He was taking a lot of big shots early on, and of course, one knocked him out of the ballgame completely. He is scheduled for an MRI today on Monday, so I'm going to make sure to keep you up to date with that if anything comes out in regards to that injury. If it is a high ankle sprain, that's probably best case scenario. He misses a few games. Let's just not hope for anything worse. I really can't understate how big of a win this was. Back and forth affair that really at one point looked completely out of reach. Our defense was just incapable to start this ball game. Tampa Bay was doing whatever they wanted. We were able to hold them to a couple field goals early, 4 total throughout the game, but we just were getting absolutely abused. But I'm going to save that for a little bit later. I have plenty to say on the defense. At one point, we were actually down by 18. And sorry, but with Eli, we were 0-44 when down 18 or more points in a ball game. Daniel Jones in his first start obviously brought us all the way back for the victory. Thankfully, the Buccaneers decided to stop throwing to Mike Evans, who was torching us the entire first half. So that was definitely an assistance. And we were actually able to shut them out in the third quarter, regaining some of that points back that we gave up in the first half. I said it at the top of this video, but the energy just feels different with Daniel Jones, especially on those 2 rushing touchdowns. I mean, they were both in the red zone, both with everyone covered. And I hate to say it, but with Eli Manning, that throw is occurring. He's going to be trying to force it to somebody, either an incompletion or worse, an interception. But Jones, he is a pocket passer, but he has the ability to use his legs as a last resort. He did twice for us. And both of those rushing touchdowns were huge in this ball game. Again, I'll get into more of that later on. But with Eli, we just don't get those scores, and probably we don't get this win. For the first time in I don't know how long, we had 2 receivers with 100 or more receiving yards, and we actually nearly had 3 with over 100 receiving yards. Evan Ingram, I said it at the beginning of this year, he was going to have his breakout season. He was going to show why he is one of the best tight ends in football. You can say what you want about him being more of a wide receiver in terms of how he plays the game, especially if you see him run or catch the ball. Another great game from him. 6 receptions, 113 yards. When we drafted him, we were underutilizing him. I've said it 1,000 times. Odell Beckham was on the field. It was a different feel for Evan Ingram. He was more of a traditional tight end at that point. Now we're using him in the way that we need to, and I'm telling you right now, he will have more than 1,000 yards this season. Another great performance, as I said. The returning Sterling Shepard racked on 7 catches for 100 yards even, and he also had a touchdown of his own in this game. And then the debuting Darius Slayton. I'm telling you right now, I am going to love this combination of Slayton and Jones. Slayton, obviously a deep threat. Jones hit him on multiple occasions in this ball game. 3 catches, 82 yards. He might turn into our designated deep threat because he, on multiple occasions, beat his man-to-man coverage downfield. Definitely something to look forward to going forward. What was really most impressive about this performance on offense was the fact that we pretty much did it for 2.5 quarters without our best player on offense. Of course, again, Saquon Barkley, MRI later today. I'll keep you up to date. Hopefully just a high ankle sprain, misses a couple games, but regardless, we need to keep this momentum up on offense. With everything I just said positively about our offense, I could say negatively about our defense, and thank goodness they had stops down the stretch and allowed us to get back into and eventually gain the lead in this ball game, because I was at a tipping point. I don't know. I would have freaked out. The performance early on was just absolutely dreadful. We couldn't get a stop to save our lives. First off, Jornis Jenkins, how does that karma taste? You talk crap about your teammates, question their desire to play the game of football and their effort, and this is what happens. That might be legitimately the worst game of his career. He looked absolutely incapable. And I get it, Mike Evans is a physical beast. He is a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL. But every play at least had a step and a half on Jornis Jenkins. That was the worst cornerback performance I've seen in some time. As I said early on in the ballgame, it looked like yet another letdown by our defense. We were getting no pressure for the most part on Jameis Winston, and the only positive thing I really had to say about it in previous games was the fact that we were able to stuff the run pretty well against Dallas and the Bills. But we weren't even doing that in this ball game. I said it in my preview video and my top 5 things to watch for prior to the game. Ronald Jones and Peyton Barber may not put up monster numbers, but they are incredible at moving the chains and setting up the pass, and that's exactly what they did. A combination of the two is a dangerous running back unit. Jones carried the ball 14 times for 80 yards, and Barber had 13 carries for 48 yards. That's a really good combination of running backs. They're both very similar. They can both catch the ball. They can both use power when necessary. And we really didn't have any answer for them early. It was clear we made an adjustment on all ends of our defense at halftime, which resulted, as I said, in us shutting out Tampa Bay in the third quarter, which was huge in assisting our comeback. We started getting a little bit of pressure from our D-line. As I said in the preview video, we needed to force Jameis Winston's hand. Get some pressure on him, make him make bad throws, which he did. Ryan Connolly ended up getting an interception in the fourth quarter. Great to see. Love Ryan Connolly. I said this way back, almost at my first video, that 57 was going to be a starter, and in week 2 he was finally. Just a hustle kid all over the field. Rookie Dexter Lawrence actually came up with his first career sack, and he was actually getting his hand in the face of Jameis Winston pretty consistently throughout this ball game. Finished with 2 QB hits in the game. Good performance by him. We're finally starting to generate some pressure from the D-line. But personally, the star on defense in this ball game, without question, is Marcus Golden. A guy that really didn't generate a lot of buzz when we signed him during this offseason. He is showing he's probably one of our most consistent pass rushers on defense. He finished with 2 sacks in this ball game, 5 total tackles, and actually had 4 total QB hits. Love to see it. We're getting that pressure consistently now. That's always positive. Also, O'Shane Ximines got another sack to add to his resume. Really starting to come along in terms of getting to the quarterback, which is good, even if it's only for this week, but let's hope it keeps transferring over to the weeks to come. As satisfying as the win is, again, some negatives do come with the positives. We still have absolutely no answer over the middle, whether it's a tight end or a receiver. I simply don't get it. I mean, I get it's a combination of the plays you're calling and the personnel, but when every single week it's just these easy third down conversions, short routes over the middle, it's like, do you watch the film? I don't. When a guy like Jameis Winston abuses you for 380 yards, what's going to happen in a couple weeks when we face Tom Brady? Like, don't get me wrong, Winston's a talented quarterback, but he's nowhere near elite. That's a scary thought, how many yards a team like that can put up. Even O for O.J. Howard. O for Howard was able to get his in this ball game. A guy that kind of has a reputation of being, in some ways, a bust, especially in fantasy, was able to get his against this team. I don't know what the answer is, and down the stretch, don't get me wrong, Jabril Peppers played some very good coverage on O.J. Howard, but not on a consistent basis. This is not a winning formula, and yeah, we got the win today, but it's long-term not going to be the answer. Honestly, I think I should just record this clip and insert it into every single review video because I'm getting sick of saying it. Where is Corey Ballantyne? I do not... whose wife did he sleep with? Because I do not understand. It is absolutely infuriating watching Jordan Jenkins play football. He's going to get us a really nice 5th or 6th round pick come trade deadline time. I would rather have 2 rookie cornerbacks make mistakes, watch them get shredded, than watch a guy that has, first of all, lockdown in his Twitter handle and talk crap about his teammates and their lack of performance prior to game time and post game. Mike Evans put up 180 yards. 180 yards. Who was head up on him for pretty much the entire game? Jordan Jenkins. One thing I will say, props to a guy that's mainly a special teams player, someone I'm not overly high on. Michael Thomas probably made the defensive play of the game. It was a 3rd and 3. Still down by 6 at this point. Just 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go. Made a huge open field tackle on Cameron Brate. Short pass out to Brate, who was actually in the backfield. Looked like a sure thing first down if the tackle gets broken. Thomas is able to wrap him up, hold them to 4th down. Of course, we get the ball back, and Daniel Jones leads the team down the field. Passes to Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and Slayton assisted in that. Now we're in the red zone. It is 4th and 5 from the 7-yard line, and Jones runs it in for the game winner. Again, I mentioned earlier that's not something that could have happened if Eli's in the ball game. Jones gets the job done when it matters most. We were up 32-31, just over a minute left. Kicked the ball off to the Bucs. Moved the ball pretty easily against us, to be honest. The ball's at midfield, and once again, Jordan Jenkins gets absolutely torched by Mike Evans, setting up a field goal from the 9-yard line. The Buccaneers ended up taking a delay of game penalty, which Bruce Arians explained that he thought it would actually make the field goal a little bit easier for their kicker, which I actually could have kind of understood, to be honest. Tampa Bay earlier in the ball game missed 2 extra points. One just completely missed the field goal post, and then the second, Dexter Lawrence actually got a hand up and blocked it. So I could understand the logic behind it, especially when Gay, their kicker, actually hit 4 field goals earlier in the ball game from obviously a greater distance than an extra point. So I understood the logic. But of course, the kick was wide right, which is funny because it keeps showing up in Giants history. Wide right, and the Giants end up winning their first game of the year, 32-31. The 4th and 5, 7-yard touchdown run by Daniel Jones was the game winner. Feels good to finally have a video, have a review that's not all negative and upsetting. We get the big win. We are now 1-2. Obviously, an absolutely amazing game to watch as a fan. Very exciting. But just one of these days, Giants, can you just give me a start to finish decisive win? I just feel like we haven't had one of those in so long, where it just feels like from the beginning, oh, this game's locked up. We got the win. I can just enjoy watching our offense put up points, defense getting stops. You know, we're not a perfect team by any means. Have we made vast improvements? Absolutely. We're headed in the right direction. And for those of you that were upset by the move to Daniel Jones this early, just after 2 games from Eli, deal with it. I mean, the results, the proof is in the pudding, as they say. All in all, just to wrap things up, the pros in this ball game: Daniel Jones, cool under pressure and can make the big plays when it matters most. We're showing, at least at the linebacker position, that we have a pass rush threat. We can consistently get to the quarterback. And most of all, the combination of Daniel Jones and our receivers, mainly Evan Ingram, and of course Slayton and Shepard had a big game. Very exciting. I mean, and we only can get better with Golden Tate rejoining the team. So those are all positives. The cons, of course, the status of Saquon Barkley is number one. Of course, also the status of both Alec Ogletree, who was injured early in the game with a hamstring, and then Tay Davis, who also left the game. And then our offensive line. We just need to regroup as a line. Bad performance, still got the victory. Need to get back to how we were playing against Buffalo and against Dallas, where we looked much more impressive, but it's okay. Still, as I said, still got the win. And as always, whatever changes we made to our secondary from week 2 to 3, we need to make even more from 3 to 4. Corey Ballantyne. But that's all I got for you guys today. Giants victory. We're sitting at 1-2 as it stands right now. It's a good feeling to have a Monday where we're coming off of a win. Obviously, brighter days ahead. But be on the lookout for the postings later this week. Of course, as always, more episodes of New York Giants franchise in Madden 20 to come. Thank you guys so much for the support on that series. It has been great. Also, new series starting up, QB1, Face of the Franchise in Madden 20. First episode will be coming your way shortly. I'm not going to be playing as myself. I'm going to be playing as a quarterback from Hollywood lore. Sound off in the comments who you think I'm going to be playing as in QB1 in Madden 20, giving me all your guesses. But have a great day. Enjoy the games tonight. Enjoy the victory. I'm going to go ahead and just watch the highlights one last time. Just enjoy those. But have a great day, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and sub to the channel if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next one, guys.